Hello, San Jose State. I'm Jeremy Cummings, here today with a Spartan Daily special discussion podcast. Today we will be discussing the new Star Wars film. Joining me today are these esteemed guests.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Giovanni Arroyo Camberos, and today we're here discussing how the new Star Wars film won't be a prequel film.
Hi, I'm Jordan Alexis, and I'm here to talk about, just what is upcoming in the new movie and what they're trying to keep with the originals and, bring it into the new age.
And I'm Dory Brown-Kuhn, and I'm here to talk about what this film has that the other movies part of this will have lacked or not had, and why this could be the beginning of another successful chapter in this film series.
Giovanni, you mentioned the prequels. Our generation grew up, and that was our Star Wars, and they're known as a cinematic disaster, those movies. So do you think this new Star Wars represents, if you will, a new hope for the series?
I definitely believe that, just not only because of the direction they're taking as far as actors. Bringing back the original cast is probably one of the biggest upgrades from the prequels, and then also as well as screenwriters. Bringing back Kasdan to work on the new a new saga. So that's definitely something that more of an upgrade compared to the prequels.
Well, there's no Hayden Christensen in this one, which is good, but for the most part, I feel that a lot of the characters in the prequels, you couldn't really get in touch with them. They weren't like as accessible as the characters in like the first three films. Like everyone loved Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Darth Vader. However, there's some characters in the prequels that you couldn't really get. They couldn't really get that same connection with, like Darth Maul. Darth Maul was cool, but he was only around for one movie. That's just one example. But I feel that just from watching the trailers, that there's like all these new. There's the stormtrooper. There's the two young teenagers that are supposed to be Luke's children. I think that it's like they seem to be more engaging than what I've seen from the last three films that have been put out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think even today, the thing that makes the original movie so good is that even if you watch it today, you're still intrigued, even given the first movie was made in 1977, then 80 and 83, and like those 30, 40 plus years ago, the thing that keeps you intrigued is the characters. And I think the thing that made the prequels so bad is like, obviously Hayden Christensen wasn't believable at all. He was a joke. And then even like the dynamic between him and Natalie Portman's character, Padme, like there was no chemistry there. Like no one believed it. And I think, the thing that made, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, all those people so great is they made you like believe in what was going on in the story, even given like, the lack of technology that, kids our age today, like, if it's not CGI, like, you can't watch it. Like, it's not intriguing to you. But the thing that keeps Star Wars so intriguing is like, obviously the screenwriting and then, the ability of the actors to make you believe, engage in the story. The prequels didn't do that at all.
So we've come to a point though where that timeline has ended. There is no more Darth Vader. So that whole storyline has gone and run its course. What's going to keep the appeal for this iteration of the movie?
Definitely the Skywalker story, because the Skywalkers have been Star Wars, and I believe it's all in theory that Kylo Ren and Rey are the twins of Han Solo and Leia. So I think keeping that consistency of continuing with the Skywalker story will keep everyone intrigued to wonder, is Kylo Ren, how did he turn to the dark side, or if he is of the dark side? And so all those theories right now looming around. The movie's coming up soon, so we'll soon find out what happens.
Yeah, I think obviously J.J. Abrams says he's made a conscious effort not to show Luke, in the trailers, not to give much information about him. Right. And Mark Hamill said in like other interviews, Luke's not going to be like the innocent little farmer boy. I think that's the quote he's used, like that he was in like A New Hope and like throughout most of the movies. So it's interesting because there's heard theories about like since Kylo Ren's like from the Knights of Ren, did Luke make the Knights of Ren, and then with the hope of them becoming kind of the new protectors, and then they go rogue on him, which is why he may have gone into isolation, kind of like how Yoda did after the Jedi fell at the end of Episode 3. So there's a lot of stuff out there, but I think that's what makes it so intriguing. I think J.J. Abrams has done a really good job of keeping everything hush-hush, making sure that, he was talking about how he hates when you see trailers, and I'm the same way. When you see trailers and you pretty much see the whole movie, that's what I didn't like about movies like Avengers, like when it last came out. Like you saw the whole movie in the trailer, and you were just like waiting for those scenes, but you kind of already knew what was happening. And I think, though you've seen like different bits and like in more and more trailers, like you don't know what's going to happen still.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the thing that I'm looking forward to, it's just like, what are the bad guys going to do? Because in all the films, it's like the group of characters that I was most interested in were the people on the dark side, the droid people, all that other stuff. Because it's like they always seem to have like the coolest stuff. Like in the first 3 movies, you have the Imperial fleet, you have all that. It's like you have the Death Star, you have all these like huge, amazing, destructive devices that can annihilate whole planets, take over whole planets, what have you. I want to see what they have, what the Empire or the Imperial fleet, what is going to be the equivalent in this new film. Because like with Kylo Ren, it's like you just see him as being the only Sith. Does he have a master, since Sidious technically is dead? Well, actually, technically he is dead. We all saw it. But it's like, does he have a leader? Is he like going off on his own path? It's like that's the development that I want to see, because it's like the thing that grabs you is like just the sheer might of the dark side and like how it's such a formidable force, and yet there's a small group of people that are able to like rise up and eventually defeat that power.
So obviously at this point there's a lot of mystery surrounding the movie. And there's also been a fair amount of controversy, namely over one of the main characters being African American, the stormtrooper from the trailers. J.J. Abrams is the new director, and he's kind of taking the reins of this series. Does he have the right to make this many changes to the Star Wars mythos? And do any of you take any issues with the changes he might make?
I don't have a problem with John Boyega being the lead character. I mean, Darth Vader was voiced, was African American, so I don't think that should be an issue at all. If you look at the past, there are more whites as a lead role. So, I mean, the transition to having a different ethnicity as a role is different, but it's a step forward, and I'm looking forward to that, to seeing how it plays out.
Yeah, I think initially when I saw the first trailer, it caught me off guard, not in a bad way, just like, oh wow, they're like really stepping out with this one. JJ's really going out. But I don't really understand the controversy with the stormtrooper being black. I mean, there's different races, aliens, all types of stuff in Star Wars, and like the thing that gets people riled up is like, oh, you can do all that, you can have all these different aliens from different universes, but don't make our stormtroopers black. And I'm like, it doesn't really make much sense to me.
And it makes sense to have different ethnicities, as being as stormtroopers, because the role of clones, they're all clones. Later on in the original trilogy, it's just a bunch of students or children that were getting raised up to go into the Imperial Academy to become stormtroopers. So that's something that I'm not as surprised that John Boyega is, a stormtrooper. That was, taken care of before, in the original trilogy.
It's like Star Wars is just like is one of these film series where you can get away with going outside the box because you basically have the whole universe at your disposal. So I think whatever path this director is planning to choose, I think it's going to be a good one, and I don't think like fans who are used to the traditional mode of things should be upset about it. Just think of it as like a new path that you just found, like walking through the woods or something. Like you can, it's the path that you haven't traveled yet. You want to see, I mean, it's the one where you can take, it's one you might have passed up like a dozen or so times, but eventually you do want to see where that trail leads. So I feel that this new movie coming out will be like the equivalent of that, and I think it'll be something that the fans will want to see.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Darby. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Giovanni. That's all the time we have for today for the Spartan Daily. This has been Jeremy Cummings. Goodbye, San Jose State.